Hi guys, welcome to the next session of our lovely adventures that we've got going on. Let me first go over some new stuff and then we'll do sort of a summary of the last session and go on from there. All right, so you notice that if you look up here, Praedyth Curia has somehow done 2030 intelligence check of 2320 versus 1613. That's because I have turned off better dice rolls. So until those kind of fall out of the way, the dice rolls are just screwed up because it doesn't know how to do the stuff. That being said, if we now go to, let me bring you to Tyrok's Landing for a moment. Not that one. I want the actual, not the area, the actual place, which has your characters in it. That's the reason why I want to do it. If you had your characters on here and you, like, here's Iylis right here, and Iylis, if you wanted to target Iylis, you can hold down Alt and click on him, and that does a quick target. So once you do a quick target, then anything you do, like an attack or a spell casting or something like that, then that will actually affect that particular character, that target. So if I had a bad guy in here, let's say, hey, let's maybe throw in a bad guy in here, possibly. We'll just let's throw in Khan for now. And so I was Iylis. I don't want to target myself, or maybe I do want to target myself, and using the HUD, I'm gonna cast my spell. Do you have mage armor? You do not. That doesn't matter.
Not. I do have shield.
Well, so let's say I want to cast a spell on Khan here. So I want to cast magic missile on him. I can go to spells and I can do magic missile, and it will then. I'm not going to consume the spell slot, but it will. I can cast the spell, do a normal attack, and it will roll damage, and it will automatically on my side apply the damage to Khan. Now, Khan didn't have very many hit points left on my side, so that kind of almost took him out. But it only did 1d4 in this case. You do, how many dice of damage do you normally do?
Like
3?
It's a minimum 3d4.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's not doing the 3d4, but we can go into your spell book here. I just got to find it. And we can modify your magic missile. We can literally edit it and go into details and say, hey, it is not 2d4 but 3d4 plus 1, and then it'll scale up the scale. Actually, it should have been scaling up by level. It should add another d4 to it, another d4 plus 1, so it should be 3d4 plus 3. Anyway, so we can modify that guy, so now when you cast it, it'll do the right thing. So if I cast it again on him by using the HUD, spells, magic missile, I'm not going to consume your thing, and it's a normal roll, but I did the thing, now it does, and it just did 13 points of damage to him, and that hurt. And automatically on my side, it automatically updated. Vice versa, if I am Mr. Khan here, and I decide to attack you, Iylis, with my lovely cutlass, for instance, well then it rolls a die. Turns out I actually hit you because I got a 10. It should have automatically done the damage roll, so I have screwed something up. And then it automatically applies the damage to you, just like normal. So now on my side, because I have an extra little target thing, I can actually undo the damage. If we go, oh yeah, it shouldn't have hit, so we can always fix things. But now really quickly, let me fix the fact that it's not auto-rolling damage, because it should have, which means I messed something in my mini quality of life somewhere. I want to fast forward damage. That's what I missed. There we go. All right. So at this point,
I just loaded in, by the way. So you right click on a person.
No, you alt click. Alt click will fast target them. Normally, if you want to target, you have to hit the little target thing and then click on them. This way, you don't have to. You can leave it on the thing. You just alt-click on them or click on them again to remove it. And
I'm gonna target the ship.
If you want, you can target multiple people all at once. Like it's all sticky. So, and then when you do things that would affect a target, like a spell or an attack roll or whatever, it will automatically do everything to them.
Oh, cool.
And it will update hit points and things like that for me. So it's more useful in combat than it is in other things, but that's, the big thing about it. Second different thing is, let's say Hylough, I want you to roll me a perception roll. Well, I will probably click on something like this. I will then click on Hylough Morbacan, and then I will say, Hylough, give me a perception roll, and then I will call request roll. And on your sheet, on your side, Hylough, you should now have a thing saying, hey, I've requested that you roll a perception roll, and you should be able to click on it, and it'll just roll a perception roll for you.
Where would I don't see that.
It should be right in the middle of your thing.
Well, it doesn't. They still say the game is paused, so I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Oh, that might have something to do with it. Here, now let me do it again. Roll request sent to connected players. You are a connected player, right?
I think so.
No. Clear selection. That would select all, but clear selection. So just view. Perception, request the roll. It doesn't act like you're connected.
Yeah. Dun dun dun. Not doing anything here.
There should be like a thing that pops up right in the middle of your stuff.
Yeah.
Well, here, I'll just ask everybody to give me a perception check. And it did it for the sea spray. Clearly did it for Marcus, because he's got one. That sort of implies that you're not actually connected. If you didn't see a request for a perception roll on your sheet, that means you're probably not truly connected.
Okay, so I should log out and just get out and come back in again?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I didn't see one either.
Well, you should add two, because I also asked for your bird to do it. So
Yeah, I didn't see either one.
So the only people I saw give me a roll are Marcus, Dresd'a, and Aaron. I didn't even see Robert give me a roll.
Oh, my bad. Oh, yeah, it came up. It even prompted me.
Ah, see. So let's see. Now that you've redone it, Hylough, let's see if I request a roll now. Do you see it?
There.
There we go. And same thing for you, Mr. Praedyth, right now.
There it is.
Okay. So, good way for us to determine if you're really connected to the server or not, it seems. Good to know. All right. So, that I can do. I will probably do it sporadically because I will forget about it. So, sometime I'll ask you just to give me the roll, and you can just do it normally. Other times I'll remember to use the thing and to request the roll. But that's more just so that, it's more, hey, until I request the roll, probably don't do a roll. Is probably the easiest way to go with the sort of stuff. And if I say, hey, give me a roll, and I don't give you a request and tell me to give you a request, or tell me I'm a jerk, one or the other, I don't really care. We'll get it working eventually. So that is those are some of the new stuff. We'll get used to them as time goes on. I'm not too worried about it as right this second. Most of the things are meant to make combat faster. So a lot of the auto rolls and things like that, when you attack and stuff like that, will do combat faster. If we find something isn't working properly with the new automation stuff, I'll note it down on some post-it notes and try to get them fixed for the next time. Because not all spells are working correctly. Not all weapons are set up properly. It'll just take me some time to find out what we're missing. Like some of your features aren't going to be set up properly. Like the way this thing is set up is that, like, if you have a reaction that you could potentially apply when somebody attacks you, if I've set it up properly on your thing, it should pop up or say a dialogue to you saying, do you want to use it, and give you like 30 seconds to try to use it. So if that doesn't happen and like, hey, in this case I could have used reaction, let me know and I'll get it fixed. But that's kind of it. And I'll probably figure out, I'll be spending some time over the Thanksgiving week trying to fix everything that I know is broken anyway. So even if we don't have anything working this time. That's it. Anybody have any questions? Guys are great.
Yeah, I think I understood that.
There wasn't much to say there.
Say again?
There wasn't much to say.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so back to our story. Last time, you guys had made it to Rhux Landing with the sea spray. You had went to the town where you ran into a little bit of trouble after talking with the shipwright that Blimby knew. A couple of you had went to or at least one of you had went to the Thirsty Barnacle, where you kind of drank for a little bit until Blimby got in there and saw somebody she didn't want to see and immediately left, and you guys kind of followed her to the northwest, where you guys spent the night. The next morning, when you went to get the papers and such from
I bought this with it.
From the
I bought it for it.
Brian, you're not muted.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Just want to let you know. The next time when you went to go to get the papers, you were accosted by a couple of goons, or at least Marcus was. That led you to meeting with the local constabulary, or Mirgel garrison, where you met a Captain Lebevic, and she seemed to know Blimby, and Blimby seemed to know her. You then went and got the papers from Zior, and found out that he had renamed the ship the Widowmaker, since no one had given him a name. Heading out of town, you guys made it back to the ship, but as you attempted to leave the sort of reef-locked area you had put the ship into for the time being, you kind of ran aground, got stuck there when the storm came in, and had to spend a day or two, I think it might have been a day or two, waiting out the storm before heading finally into Rhux Landing with the ship to get it fixed. At that point, you guys headed into town, knowing that it would take a few days. You headed into town with your prisoners, the pirates known as Scabs and his motley crew. Took them to the garrison, where you were given some money for the bounties, but were told that they would have to send someone to Mirabel to get you the rest. So you paid the down payment on the sea spray to get it fixed, which was 100 gold. And you got, if I remember correctly, 100 gold from them, from the bounties. And you were just waiting on another 125 or 150 to be come back from Mirabel. So that person was going to be sent out that day, or the following day. So you spent time that night in the northwest, and it is now morning of, I believe, the 30th. Well, that looks a little weird. That looks like afternoon. Maybe I forgot to move time forward, but we're going to say you have woken up, and it is now the morning of. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is the afternoon, because you guys had went to the northwest, got some rooms, and still had the rest of your day left. So, what do you guys want to do?
Have we really decided anything? I mean, we're kind of.
I have no idea.
I was staying out of the way. I know that.
I thought we were gonna.
I know you guys Iylis had. You had disguised yourself. Iylis had turned himself invisible so you could get into town. And that would have been the afternoon of the 30th. Some of you took the guys to the garrison for the bounty. You got as much of the bounty as you could. So you guys were now waiting for them to send people, which they weren't going to send tonight because they said it would take a day to get there and a day to get back. So they're going to send them tomorrow. But it is now mid-afternoon based on what I'm seeing here. So what do you guys want to do?
I thought, if I remember from last time, we were going to either see if we could find or ask Blimby if she knew anybody worth putting on our crew, or getting some rations here.
Okay. She had mentioned that there's usually a few people down at the Thirsty Barnacle or near the docks that would potentially be crew members. The old man who runs the Northwest had suggested that you guys head to the Downpour, which is a a bar to the northwest, and it just happens to be this building right here. Based on what you've learned from Blimby. You guys have already been to the garrison, which is here. Again, I'll kind of mark it so that it shows up. You've been to Tyrrax Brewery, which is here. The inn is here. This place right here, that's right next to you. The general store, which is where you were thinking about getting some stuff, is right next to it. The reason why you smelled bread the night previous is that this is a bakery, from what you understand. This is the Thirsty Barnacle here, and clearly the docks and things like that. Where the ship is clearly the shipwright. And that is all you kind of really know at this point. Yeah, so you could go to the general store, see if you can get some rations there. You could head to the Barnacle. You could head to the Downpour, see if there's anybody there. That would be worth trying to get on your crew. As of right now, the only people on your crew are you guys, True, Linby, and Rat.
You had mentioned something about I might have some background contacts that can help us with some things.
You have a way of always getting in contact with Sarah.
Okay.
So you know, no matter where you get to, you have ways of getting information to Sarah. So if you wish to, so that implies that you either know somebody near here, or in this case, you probably don't know anybody directly in Tyrrax Landing, but you probably know somebody in Mirabel if you wanted to send a note to that person to get to Sarah.
I'll write up a note and send it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, the guardsman is going to head there tomorrow, so you could probably take and give the note to him and tell him who to give it to.
Okay.
So yeah, it basically, if you ever want to get information to Sarah, and kind of give her where you're thinking where you might meet her or something like that, or get the next message back from her, you can. As we get to higher levels, that turns into other things like, the local wizard who could probably do a sending spell for you, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So what are we going to do with all the money? I mean, do we need to spread it among ourselves? Do they have an in-room safe here at the hotel? Do they have insurance on the safe?
They do not have any of those such things.
Okay. Did we have any money left after we paid?
Yeah.
I thought we had to.
Well, we paid what we had out of what we had, and then we collected another $100.
You paid 60 gold from the party and 40 gold from Iylis.
Yeah, so Iylis gets the money back up front.
Group gold of 60 plus 40 from Iylis to make the down payment on the ship repairs. So you then got 100 back. So basically, you now have 60 group gold again, and Iylis got his 40 back.
Let's go.
Yeah. But I mean, dividing it amongst ourselves is fine. It's what.
Just don't really
No, I agree. We haven't decided what we're going to do. Future. I mean, we're going to need a crew.
Well, you do know that you're here in Tyrrax Landing for at least 3 days, because the ship was not going to be finished being repaired until 3 days hence.
Right, but as far as the money, I mean, we shouldn't necessarily spend it on anything if we're gonna need that for down payments, or maybe buy supplies, or
right. Yeah.
What are we thinking? Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know the 32nd is when you can actually do something with the ship. Until then, you're on your own here in Tyrrax Landing, which is such a fun, wonderful place.
Yeah, no, not liking it. And we have a room we're hiding out in. I remember that part. So,
well, you have a room in the Northwest.
Yes.
And in fact, you have a couple rooms, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, my plan
girls and the boys.
Yeah, you had a girls
hide out here for a bit. So we figure out what's going on. Since I've already drawn attention and don't want to start a war, although, like I said, at some point we may want to come back and take over the Kremlin element of the city, but right now probably not.
Drew's like, oh, this is kind of a deadbeat backwater place. There's far better places to try to take over.
Precisely. So stay out of trouble is what I'm going to try to do here.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I haven't gotten in trouble here. I'm going to go partake of a drink at the Downpour per our lovely host's recommendation. And anybody wish to join me?
I'll go.
You don't have to follow the NPC. I was just giving her some reason
I'm afraid
to
I
leave.
can't. I have some meditation to get to or whatever. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Free stuff.
I know all about that. Make sure you do all the proper genuflections to your god. And she heads out.
Proper what now?
Genuflections. I could use other words, but no. So she heads out. It sounds like Aaron and Hylough were going to go with her.
Yep.
All right. She and you guys should be on the map here somewhere. You are. You're at the very bottom down here. If you would be so kind as to move yourself up to the downpour would be up here. So True is going to go up there. I probably should put True on here if I haven't. We will move Rhux into. Actually, I'll move everybody much closer to the inn, so at least you're kind of closer up here. So I'm moving you up, so you're kind of near the. There you go. So you're closer to the inn. Let me add True. And Blimby's already on here, so here's True. True is going up to the inn up here, to the downpour up here. Let me move Dresd'a. You are currently at the inn with Marcus. Praedyth currently at the inn as well. Rhux currently at the inn.
Where am I?
Well, you're currently right there. I don't know where you want to be.
I
would assume
was
you're currently at the
inn.
inn, unless you wish to. Like, you didn't get in trouble with the guy, so it's up to
I
you.
didn't really.
Yeah,
I was making friends.
Yep. So it's kind of up to
But
you how you.
Everybody got mad at me for making
how you
friends.
want to do anything with that.
No, I think I might go to the bar.
All right, so you're going to go to the bar as well. All right, so you guys head over to the bar. Marcus and Dresd'a and Praedyth, what are you guys doing? Let me start with you guys, and then we'll pick up with the bar.
Yeah, so I guess Marcus is going to compose a letter and kind of think on plan, because he's going to try to stay out of things right now.
I mean, you can remember you can.
No, I can disguise myself.
Disguise yourself and stuff like that.
Not really. I'm not going to push my luck, given how my luck has been running recently. I'm not going to be a sailor and be a superstitious on this one. But yeah, I think I'll stay here until something else presents itself.
All right. All right. So you're just going to stay up in the rooms.
I think I'm wondering if we shouldn't keep an eye out for let's see, is the ship over here somewhere? Is that our ship getting repaired?
Your ship is further south.
Further south?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay.
And it's inside this building. So it's mostly inside the building.
Okay, so if a patrol of guards were wandering by, they wouldn't necessarily see the ship out in the open.
Guards, you're probably not too worried about. If a Navy ship came by, they would see the ship, but the ship is under repair. So there's scaffolding and stuff around the ship and things like that. So it's not, even though it's not fully in, like this particular warehouse is not quite big enough to fit your merchant ship. It's really meant more for like a sloop or something like that. So basically, the part of your ship that needs repairs is inside, and the back end is outside. So you kind of ruin the sort of the front, at least for now. At some point during this time, because they're also going to sort of fix some of the lower hold where the explosion happened. At that point, they'll probably turn it around and push that into the back. So they're only going to see part of this particular thing. Now, it is very clear that this is a Solari designed ship. All right.
Right.
So that's still clear no matter what. But
so I guess my intention is, could I hang out? I guess, is this a market here?
Yeah, this is sort of a market area.
Okay. If I hung out at the market, could I see if any, I don't know, commotion started where the ship is being repaired, kind of a thing?
I mean, sure. It seems,
because I might just skulk around here, hang around, just keep watch in case, some commotion gets raised about, hey, isn't that ship that was stolen kind of a situation?
Well, I mean, you don't know if there's even scuttlebutt about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you guys have literally, this is the first civilization you guys have been at in about 2 weeks. Maybe a little longer than that. Maybe about 3 weeks.
I'll just kind of hang around the market then.
All right, so the market seems to be active in the morning and in the evening. It doesn't seem to be active during the middle of the day when you first go down there. Just as an FYI, making some inquiries of some people that walk around on the streets, you find out that there's sort of a morning market where there's a bunch of fish and things like that, and then an evening market which is things like foodstuffs and clothing and that sort of stuff is sold. But during the middle of the day, most of these little carts and stuff are closed up, and either the people live around there, so they just go back to their house, or they go to a bar or something like that to spend a couple hours before coming back. So you can skulk around there during the middle of the day if you wish. It's just there's not really anybody.
I can take a little siesta when it's down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Dresd'a is at the market. All right. Praedyth,
you went to market.
You're just gonna pray.
Yeah, he's gonna meditate and pray and try and see if he can get a read on what direction he needs to head.
All right.
What direction? Because she gave him literally basically no directions for where the island actually is.
Gave you a vision of an island where there was a city on a cliff, some mountains to the north of that, and then come down into a marsh-like area where the ruins were.
Can I like go? Is there a library or something I can go to, or some like map maker or something?
Do you wish to ask the innkeeper if there is any such a thing?
Yeah, sure.
Asking. What was his name? The Northwest. Asking Bello Philemil. You come down the stairs and he says, "Oh, what can I do for you, young old man? Sorry. No, what's your name? Sorry."
I'm Reverend Praedyth, of course.
Reverend of what?
Of
which god?
Great goddess of fate, Aerra.
Haven't heard of that one. It's a new one on me.
You will. Well, you heard it now, but you'll hear it more.
Okay. If you say so.
Anyway.
But what can I do for you?
Do you know of any, libraries or cartographers or anybody who would have knowledge of locations and where, if I describe one to them, they might be able to help me locate?
Well, there is a small library in Mirabel, day's journey to the south. Day's journey by horse. The only thing around here is an elder gentleman. He lives to the north. He lives over somewhat near the downpour. He goes by the name of, and I forgot to name this guy when I did this initially. He goes by the name of Lysanthir. We got it. Lysanthir Tarbella. He's a sort of I believe he's a sage. He's lived here for many years. I think he's retired, but the few times that I've been to his home, he's had a few books on. He's had a couple of bookshelves that I've seen.
Okay.
Is that what you're looking for?
It's a start. Definitely a start. I appreciate you.
Okay. He gives you directions. He basically points it to this house right here.
Okay. It's still decent daylight out.
Yeah, it's mid-afternoon.
All right, then I'll head over there.
All right, so you're going to head to there. For those of you who went to... For those of you who went to... I'm just trying to add this name. In fact, it might be even better to just add it to here. I went to the downpour. Let me give you there we go. Let me give you a description. As you walk into the downpour is located on the northwestern side of town. And as you walk in, you see a couple farmers. Clearly they're farmers based on the way they look, the kind of the hands, the kind of the style of the way they are sitting in there having a couple what seems to be a mid-afternoon drink. Behind the bar is a woman, a red-haired woman. She looks to be maybe mid-20s. She kind of looks up as you guys come in, nods in your direction, but doesn't really say anything. What are you guys doing? Oh, actually, there's one other thing I forgot to mention. There is, as you kind of got closer to it, here on this northern side up here, you noticed that you could smell it a little bit before you saw it, but there seems to be a bit of fire damage on the side of the building right before you on the side of the building to the left as you enter in from this side, from the road. It looks like a fire started but didn't really do a lot of damage to the structure, just some. And there is a man there who's kind of sizing it up, and it looks like he's pulling out a hammer, and it looks like he's about to try to take down a few things. Like there's the shutter there is partially burned, so it looks like he's about to go start taking that down. But that is what you notice before you walk in. But the woman hasn't said anything to you. She just nods towards you as you enter. True just walks in and goes to a table and takes a seat.
That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with her.
You guys kind of, as you guys walk over to the table, the couple of farmers that are drinking and talking to each other kind of stop and just kind of watch you guys saunter in and take a seat. And then they kind of go back to their discussion. They're speaking loud enough that it sounds like they're talking about sounds like one is talking about the fact that it was great that they got that rain the last couple of nights because it was much needed. Get the feeling that they are concerned that the lack of rain, and that this was very helpful. This particular rainfall was much needed, and they're super happy it showed up, even though it was a pretty heavy downpour there for quite a while. At a certain point, the woman kind of walks over to your table, and she looks at you for a second, and she says, "Huh, you guys seem to be new here. Come in on a ship, or did you come in through, carriage?"
On a ship.
Ah.
We just recently arrived, getting some repairs done.
Interesting. So then why are you up here and not at the Thirsty Barnacle?
A little too rough down there.
Figured we'd try something new. We already went by there.
Fair enough. My name is Bronwyn. What can I get you to drink? I have a couple of T-Rocks on brews on tap. I have
T-Rocks on the rocks.
No, it's a T-Rocks Brewery and Tavern is
I know.
place you were at before. As well as a new type of a liquor he is trying called a pineapple brandy.
Ooh. Brandy, but with pineapples.
Yeah. If you want some of that, I can also put in some water or something like that to mellow it out a bit if you prefer.
I'll take it straight.
Okay. So you want
Neat, as the kids say.
You want some pineapple brandy? Anybody? True says, "I'll take one of those. I'll try it."
I will also take it straight.
All right.
Sure, sounds good to me.
All right, 4 pineapple brandies coming right up, and she heads back towards the bar, and where she gets out 4, not mugs, but not really glasses either. They're more like clay glasses. They're not glasses. And she gets out a jug. If those of you who live around here a lot, it looks like a moonshine jug, but when she pours it in, there's sort of this goldish yellow liquid that kind of comes out and into this cup, and then she brings it over to you guys. She says, "Let me know how you think of it. Tirak not Tirak. What's his name? Gralthar is always looking to expand his horizons, and so it'd be good to let him know what you think." And she stands there and watches, waiting for you guys to drink.
I do it.
I take a little sip.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm taking a sip.
So it is sickly sweet.
Oh my.
Like, think of, but not medicine sweet. Like, just, it's really, really sweet. I mean, in essence, you're taking something that's already super sweet and you're fermenting it.
Right.
So the amount of residual sugar in it is like, it's almost syrupy in how sweet it is. It's not bad. It's just super sweet.
You love me some Jack Daniels.
It's not really Jack Daniels. I mean, I don't even know what would happen if you fermented pineapple, quite frankly. Sure.
Probably nothing good.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be that great. It's not terrible,
Yeah.
but you've had far better things.
It ain't bad. That's what I'll say.
It does have a good burn though, like a nice like a whiskey or something like that does. Which, since Iylis, you've literally not had one of those yet.
Yeah.
You kind of cough a little bit the first time. All 4 of you give me a Constitution check as you drink through this thing.
Constitution.
Yeah.
Are you gonna request one?
No, just go ahead.
Got a little symbol. I think my Constitution check matches.
Yeah, you definitely drink a little bit and start coughing a little bit. Hylough does as well. Hylough does as well. And you also feel a little lightheaded even after just a little bit of drinking. Let me give True a real quick Constitution check. She's drinking as well. Ooh, yeah, she does the same thing. She kind of, wow, that's gonna put hair on my chest. And so she sets it down and says, "I don't really want hair on my chest."
I'll drink it.
Yeah. So you guys start sipping through that and nursing it. Are you guys looking for anything in particular? She the brown one kind of smiles, has a sly grin, and she says, "I'll start you a tab. That will be a gold piece for the 4." And then she walks back over to her bar and kind of stands behind it. You don't see any other server other than her in the bar, and there is like a small doorway that goes behind her past the bar into what you think is probably a small kitchen of some sort, where you can sort of smell something is being made. It's a little early. It's like I said, about mid-afternoon, like 3:30. So dinner is probably not quite yet. But doesn't mean they aren't starting to make something for it. Looking around the bar, it's the tavern room, the general room. It's about 6 tables. Most of them are meant for 4. There's a couple that are meant for just 2. There is a fireplace on the northwestern part of the building with a fire already in it. Even though it is sowing tide, so it's getting towards the latter half of spring, and you're in the middle latitudes in some sense. It's they still have the fire in there, more probably for light than for warmth. eventually, as you guys are sitting there nursing those drinks, a couple more farmers come in and have a seat at another place. Kind of eye you as they kind of look in, as they kind of go to their spot. Nod towards the other two. You hear one say, Leon? And the other one says, oh yeah, hi Connell, how's it going? Typical kind of banter you might expect. Guys trying to do anything else, or
enjoying my drink?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys continue to enjoy your drink. Give me well, you don't have to give me a perception roll. I was gonna say the two guys that come in kind of sit down with those other two, and they start chatting a little bit, and after a little bit you overhear one of them say, hey, Liam, did you hear that Cormac, he lost another sheep last night? One of those he keeps saying something about no footprints, so it can't be a cougar or anything, and the sheep is just gone. That's what he keeps saying. I don't know if I believe him. I mean, I think he's just trying to steal some from the Blivens. He'll steal some of their sheep, get him to himself. But you never know. Liam's like, Cormac is a little bit weird, but I don't know. There's been some strange things going on. There's a strange sighting the other night of some really large, dark shape going across the moon. But who knows? Maybe it's just nothing. Maybe just a trick of the light. And then you kind of lose their conversation as they drop back into the vagaries of planting grain and stuff like that, or tending to pineapple fields or sugar fields in this region. I'm going to go back to Dresd'a. As you guys kind of sit there for the next hour. Dresd'a, there's not really anybody out around there. You kind of watch the area of the shipwright. Every now and then you see him go in and out of the warehouse. You see he's clearly got two helpers, two guys that are helping him. One a bit younger than the other one. One almost think is maybe his father, maybe. And the younger one might be his older son or something like that. There's definitely a similarity between the three men, between gait and height and kind of, just the look. So and they keep going in and out, sometimes into the house next door, sometimes back into the place, and you can hear hammering every so often, couple shouts every so often, which are probably somebody doing something stupid, but no one kind of coming there to look around. It seems like the port of Tirok's Landing is also mostly fishing vessels and stuff like that. And at this point in time, there's a lot of them in dock. I mean, more than the 4 that are showing up on the map, because it's mid-afternoon. Not a lot of fishing gets done then. Mostly it's early morning or evening that they do their fishing. So you can actually occasionally hear laughter and stuff like that coming from the tavern down the road, the Thirsty Barnacle down here. And there's people kind of moving up and down the dirt road around you. Some of them seem to be probably, every now and then you see somebody go by with like a hand cart taking either wood or like sheep's wool or something like that around. Pretty typical for a small village. Doing anything else?
Nothing noteworthy.
Nothing noteworthy so far, no.
Okay, I'll mosey on up to the bar for a drink or something like that.
So you head on over to the Thirsty Barnacle. You get up in there, and as you're kind of getting close, you can hear sound of music inside. Somebody singing more than and maybe a lute, you think, and a lot of laughter and a lot of just a lot of noise. Opening it up, you see the place is not super packed, but there's at least a good 10 people in here. Most of them look like they're either dock workers or fishermen. They'll kind of look up as the door opens up and kind of look at you strangely before they go back to their drinks. I mean, most of them do it surreptitiously, but a few of them look at you, pretty stare kind of at you. There is a thin man behind the bar who nods in your direction as you come in. And sitting at a table to the far corner, right corner, is actually the far right corner is where the bar is. Far left corner, because I actually have a map of this. Thirsty Barnacle. Here's the Thirsty Barnacle, except that I didn't put anybody in here. Add you to it, Dresd'a. There you go. So you come on in, and here is the Thirsty Barnacle. Wow, it looks really small in comparison to you.
A giantess.
You're kind of giant in comparison to this thing. It's a little weird. But that is a 5-foot square, so.
Yeah, she could fit in one of those chairs.
Yeah, she can. Not too worried about it. There is a bartender behind the bar here to the right. Back here in this table, back here in the corner here, is a guy sitting there. He looks a bit like... Oh no, I put him under this. Bit like this, as a reminder. A bunch of tattoos, kind of a shade, a goatee with sort of a strange.
He's still there.
Kind of thing. He's sitting there. He kind of gives you a look as you come in, but only briefly.
He hasn't moved.
He seems to be drinking a tankard of something. Mostly it's dock workers and fishermen, very clearly, that are.
Do they serve lunch here, or is it just a straight up bar?
You're not sure. You could go over to the bar and ask.
Yeah, I'll ask if they do lunch.
Okay, so heading over to the bar, you see a thin man, not a tin man, a thin man, who says, "I gotta find his name." A thin, swarthy man who kind of turns, or who's nodding at you. You kind of head up to the bar and sit down at the thing, and he says, "What can I do for you?"
Oh, do you guys do meals here, or are you just...
We provide a bit of food. Right now, we're kind of cooking, and you can now just start to smell a slight odor of maybe fish, possibly an odor of fish, possibly mixed with a little bit of maybe mutton. Kind of wafting through from the door over here. Through this door right here. Which is closed. He says, we do tend to have a food available. Right now things are still on the cooking thing, but we could probably provide you with some cheese or something like that if you wish.
Cheese and bread sounds good. And can I get like an ale or something?
Sure.
Nothing too strong though.
Sounds fine.
You don't have anything
says,
too strong.
1 second, he goes through, pushes the door open, he says, "Need some cheese and bread." I wanted to say stat, but that doesn't work here. And then he comes back out and goes to a kind of a spigot on the wall and takes a cup or a mug and pours some ale into it and passes it over. He just says, "For the food and the drink, it'll be a couple silver."
Okie dokie. Here you go.
All right. So you pay off some silver, and he's like, "Perfect. Enjoy your ale. The food should be out in a little bit."
Could I move to like this table over here in the corner?
You can move yourself wherever you want.
All right.
I mean, there are people at a number of the tables. But yeah, we can say that one's empty-ish. Yeah, that one's empty. Fine.
So I can eyeball the stranger in the corner while I eat.
He's kind of looking in your direction anyway.
Well, you know,
every so often.
Yeah.
A couple of guys that are sitting at this table here move over and chat with him for a little bit. You can overhear. The thing is, though, with the music that's playing, so there is a halfling here in front of the fire playing a lute, singing some songs. Most of them are some ribald kind of songs, very saucy. But given the clientele you see in this room, that doesn't shock you. It's clearly this tavern is a rowdier place. After a moment, you see a young girl come out through the door carrying sort of a loaf of bread and something wrapped. She looks at the bartender. He nods in your direction, and she comes on over to you and puts the thing on the thing and says, "This," and then she starts heading back to the back area and through the door. As she goes by this table here, one of the clearly a dock worker slaps her on the ass, and she kind of gives him a start, but doesn't turn back. She just keeps walking. This girl looks like she's maybe no more than 12 or 13.
Punk.
What are you doing? Start eating your food?
Just gonna eat and listen. Try to be quiet.
All right. I mean, kind of listening around. There's the table over here actually is a game of dice of some sort between what clearly are probably 4 fishermen. And so it gets kind of loud every so now and then when somebody gets a good roll or, that sort of stuff. So every now and then some roars and things like that from these guys are, oh, what the hell? The rest of the tables are mostly, like I said, dock workers or other fishermen just kind of talking to each other, chatting a little bit. The most you probably overhear one of the guys one of the fishermen here, you hear he's like, "Hey," to a guy next to me, said, "Hey, did you hear Dory was seen leaving the herbalist the other night from the back door? You know what that means, right? You know what that means. Probably,
he's your backdoor man.
Probably giving her the business." And the other guy goes, "Ew, she's like 80." Well, he's not getting anything at home, that's for sure.
No teeth.
And it's like, yeah, okay. As long as it's him and not me. That just doesn't sound good, man. Doesn't sound good.
Maybe she's cooking for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's this table here. These guys are playing dice. As you get further afield, you can't really, it's more hubbub than anything else. You can't really hear much of what's going on. You continue to eat your food and things like that while we go back to our guys at the inn. Marcus, is there anything you wanted to try to do?
Yeah, actually, Marcus has written a letter.
Okay.
And he's going to send it to, was it Sally? Can't remember
Sarah.
my notes. Sarah, thank you. And I could send that to you, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what he's asking. He's going to ask, he lets her know that he's met Mad Dogs and was briefly a member of his crew.
Okay.
Marcus was able to leave the crew with some friends and a ship, but would like to avoid Mad Dog in the future. So, where's a good place to avoid Mad Dogs given Mad Dog's recent activities? Does she know any merchants in this area of the world who need good ship in a vessel our size?
Okay.
Does she know of any reliable guild members or associates who would like to know where to hire good sailors? And he's also going to let her know about the local crime group here that was headed up by Blimby that is now headed up by, I didn't write down his name, but
Elazar.
And so he is going to send that to her in a note.
All right, so you're going to head over to the garrison and hand that off to them. All right, you can seal it and you take it over
I
there.
definitely want to.
Heading into the garrison, you can see a few guys doing some drills under the watch of a I don't know, a middle-aged man. He is maybe 5'6", 5'7". He's clearly he's like the lieutenant or the sergeant or something like that of the garrison under Lebevic's command. He notices you as he comes in and he says, "Men, keep doing what you're doing. I'll be right back." And he heads over to you and says, "What can I do for you?"
Yes, I'm Marcus. I was here the other day with
yes, I remember
associate. You. Excellent. I would like to deliver have a message delivered.
A particular person, a place. I mean,
Yeah, and I'll deliver to the inn, whatever the drop point would be.
Yeah, so like you name an inn and an innkeeper in Maribel, and he's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, that's I know that. We're sending the guy, I think, to get your guys' bounty tomorrow morning, so I'll make sure this goes with it.
Sure.
And he watch him take it. He takes it and then heads into the garrison house, and you assume sets it with some other things, and then comes back out.
Right. And I was going to ask him, as long as I'm here, and so if we were to stay here, because my companions and I are kind of trying to decide what to do.
Sure.
What would you do? Are there goods here that are needed? Obviously, there's some,
well, we're
it's a guild.
Kind of a. I hate to say it, but we're kind of the asshole end of Mirgale League. Not a lot going on here. There's mostly farms. There's the bunch of barley farms. There's some sheep herding on the south side and the grasslands out there. There's some pineapple fields and some sugarcane fields up to the north, run by the Bliven family, or the Biven family. Sorry, I keep calling them Bliven, but it's the Biven family. Not a lot otherwise. A lot of fishermen. It's a pretty back end dry, not a very small town. People have lived here, usually live here all their lives. Many people trying to get out. If you've got a ship, I'd take it. Get out of here. Not because I don't like you, son, but because it's not a great place to be.
How did you end up here? And what was his name anyway?
Pissed off somebody.
Pissed off. No. What was his name?
Pardon?
What was this guy's name?
Oh no. Commander Mirabal.
No. I'm sorry. What's the?
What's this guy's name?
Yeah.
Oh, he's Lieutenant Liam Tile.
Yeah.
I got sent here because I lipped off a little too much to a commanding officer. Been working my way back.
That'll get you in trouble fast.
It does.
Familiar with that. Been there myself.
It isn't all bad out here. Tirac's a pretty decent brewer, or at least Growthar. And some of the bars are not bad. There's a freaky fortune teller. She's kind of bizarre, but sometimes tells you some interesting stuff. Blacksmith. There's the local temple. That guy knows a few things. But not a lot going on here. This is, if you're looking for a quiet place to settle down, have a few kids, maybe be in debt for a while, this is probably the place for you. If you're looking for adventure, you're looking for a place to find money and fame, not the place for you.
So are you looking to leave yourself?
I found myself
if the opportunity
I found myself a decent spot here.
Okay.
At least I've got a little bit of a command. Captain isn't too bad. Get to rough up some people every now and then. It's all pretty good. If I need to, I can go to Mirabal every so often on my leave. So it's not terrible. And the work is pretty, for the most part, a few rough spots here and there, but the work is easy. Not too much crime around.
Yeah, I wouldn't think Mad Dog and his crew would actually. In fact, I'm surprised it was so close by that we were so close, considering. I mean, it's a fishing town. It's not. You guys don't have any trouble with the pirates or that type of thing.
Not too much. I mean, given that this is a known spot where the Navy will resupply, not too often do we see much in the way of pirates. No. Probably more likely to see them up on Escala up north, which is where you guys did stop.
That was the island that we were on, right?
Yeah, that's where you guys. Well, no, that's where you guys stopped on your way before you attacked the Sea Spray.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of our travels. I've wanted to travel there too, but like I said, it's just Lots to take in.
If you're looking for things to do, I recommend maybe go out and visit Timo out at the lighthouse. He can show you a few things or two. He loves to talk about the ghost. Sometimes I think he makes that shit up just so people will come and visit him.
It's always good to have, rumors and good stories. That's especially if they can be turned into a little coin for myself later on, if they're good enough. So thank you. Yeah, that'd be good. What about this fortune teller you're talking about?
Madam let's see. Madam Zugenia. She runs the House of Cards. It's over just south of the Downpour. It's hard to miss once you head down the street. You'll see it.
Is she local, or what do you know? You said she was interesting. That's why a good story is always going after.
She just does some interesting. Some of her fortunes turn out to be quite true. Some of them not so much. She's just interesting.
Let's stop in there while we're here, because
if you're looking for somebody to tell you where you want to go next, doesn't hurt to talk to a fortune teller, now does it?
If nothing else, it'll get you good. You can learn where not to go, perhaps.
This is true.
Well, thanks.
I'll make sure that your letter makes it to that innkeeper.
Sure. Thanks again.
No problem. Yeah. And he goes, as he turns around, you hear him shout, "Oh, we just lost somebody. What did we lose? Oh, we lost Brian." You hear him shout, "Rhux! That's not the right stance, you fool! Guy'll just take one wallop," and you kind of walk out of the thing.
Got it.
As he's shouting.
And I guess
you kind of come out of the garrison and look around, and again, it's kind of a sleepy town. There's a few people on the streets, usually going from here to there. A lot of them, a woman and her kids kind of walk by. They kind of keep themselves. The farmer kind of walk by. He kind of nods at you. It's sort of a guarded nod, like they're open but not super open.
Yeah, they're not going to be super friendly with the stranger.
But they're not outright shunning you or anything like that.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like they're wary of strangers, but it doesn't seem like they're terrified of strangers. Is probably the best way to put it.
Okay. Well, before I leave, let's see. Is the outhouse out back, I assume, the facilities, or someplace I could go and cast disguise self, or someplace?
Yeah.
Without
you can find someplace, yes.
Yeah. So I'll do that. Just being utterly paranoid there, I'll spend my hour just kind of wandering the streets for, I guess, 30 minutes of it, and then head back to the inn.
Okay. So you're going to start wandering around.
To see what's going on. I do want to check out where this House of Cards is, and
eventually, as you wander around, you find the House of Cards to be right here.
Okay.
It's a small kind of shack with a bunch of shells and stuff on strings kind of down off of the roofs that kind of click together as the wind kind of goes through them. They're not really wind chimey, though. It's more of like a click clack. It's actually a little eerie kind of to you. You get the feeling that Madame Zugenia is voodoo more than anything.
Okay.
Kind of that sort of style that you kind of see in there. But we'll come back to you.
Yeah, I will, definitely.
Yep. Downpour. So those of you in the Downpour, farmers are mostly talking and drinking. You guys have kind of sipping through your I was going to say apple brandies, but no, it's pineapple brandies. Anything you guys want to try to do?
Afterwards, I kind of wanted to go to the market and try and get some supplies, or the general store.
Well, the general store is next to the inn. That's this place,
right?
The market.
You're going to the general store
down here is only open mornings. It's always open. There's always the stalls are always there, but usually people don't man them except for in the morning and the evening.
Right.
Based on what you hear. Yeah, you guys finished drinking your pineapple brandies. I'm assuming you're just chatting to each other. Anything that you guys are specifically chatting about or anything like that?
I might go up to one of the the farmers and ask about their missing sheep, and if they if anybody needs help with that.
Oh, so you kind of approach them as you guys are okay. So you stand up and head over there, and they kind of, as you kind of get closer, they kind of start to look in your direction, and one of them kind of nods as you get kind of close, and he says, "Can I help you?" At this point, you think it's the one that was called what, like a conal.
Yeah, I just overheard you talking about some sheep going missing or something like that. I didn't know if you need some help.
Not my ship. My sheep. It's Cormac's sheep. Well, it's not really his sheep. It's the Skurlock's sheep, but he tends.
Okay. Okay.
He's saying that one of them went missing last night. That's all.
The Skurlocks are the rich people around here, right?
Yeah, one set of them. Yeah. And at that point, the door opens up, and in walks, I don't know, maybe an 18-year-old guy. He's wearing definitely better clothes than you've seen so far in the actual village. He's got, sort of a sandy brownish blonde hair, that typical kind of pretty boy look. And he kind of walks in and looks around and sees Bronwyn, notices you guys, kind of sniffs a little bit, and then he heads over towards Bronwyn and sits at the bar, and you can hear him loudly say, "Ah, my favorite gal. What can you serve me today?" And at the same time, Conal says, "Ah, speak of the devil. That's not the Skurlocks, that's one of the Bivens. Tam, I think his name is." And clearly Tam overhears him say this, because he turns around and says, "Do not besmirch my name with your drawl. Please do not." Anyway, Bronwyn, "I'm looking forward to our date tonight." And Bronwyn's like, "I don't think we have a date, my sir, Mr. Bivens. Not in the slightest. I have to work tonight. Run my bar, Yeah, so Connell continues to you, Hylough. He's like, "If you want to find Cormac, he's probably out south of town, watching his flocks. You could probably go talk to him if you wish. He is usually there till close to sundown, and then he'll take the flock into the Skurlock's buildings, and then probably show up at the Tyrok's brewery. If you don't find him out there, you could probably find him there this evening."
Okay. So now did he say that were they suspicious that the Blivens were taking the sheep? Is that what they were thinking?
No. He said that they were suspicious that Cormac was taking the sheep, so that he would, that he could have his own flock. They think he's stealing from his employer, is what they were thinking.
Okay.
That's what they think.
Yeah.
That was their little rumor mongering. That's what you overheard. Like, he doesn't say that directly to you, but when they were talking, that's kind of what you overheard, is that they were implying that he was stealing them himself.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know that there's much else here. I think I want to go to the bakery and buy some fresh baked bread.
So you're heading, everybody, you guys kind of settle up your bill, which was the gold piece, and then kind of head out. As you head out of the bar, a guy who is described by Marcus kind of saunters past. Marcus, what's your description? Because you're disguised, so.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Just like a red-haired, tall, lanky gentleman, kind of a farmer.
Have you used this disguise before?
No.
Okay. So yeah, a red-haired, tall, lanky farmer.
Just some nondescript I've met in the past.
Goes by and kind of walks by and kind of gives you guys a perplexed look, and continues on down the road, heading south. Down the road.
Yeah.
What do you guys? So Aaron, you're gonna head to the general store. Hylough's going to the bakery. True, it's like, I might go and take a walk along the docks, see what they've got going on down there. Maybe see if I can find you guys some potential sailors. Iylis, what are you gonna do?
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I was planning on going to the general store.
Okay, so you and Aaron head to the general store. Marcus is continuing south. Aaron, or not Aaron. So you guys are headed to the general store. We'll just kind of put you that way. True is headed to the docks, and Hylough is headed to the bakery. All right. Let us come back to Dresd'a. Dresd'a, you are still sitting in the Thirsty Barnacle. At this point in time, the dice game has gotten a bit more rowdy. One guy has clearly been starting to lose a lot of money, and he's getting frustrated. And at a certain point, you hear a slam on the table, and you see a knife getting stuck into the table, really close to the guy's to his left hand. But it doesn't hit him, but close. The intent, though, is very clear. Like, you hear him shouting, like, "I know you're cheating. I know you're cheating, Seleno. I know it. Stop your cheating." At that point, you notice that a hand comes from behind the guy that's shouting about cheating, and comes onto his thing, and you see that the tattooed guy that was sitting in the corner has kind of come over and has put a hand on the guy, and he's like, and you hear him say, "Warlock, he's not cheating. You're just not having a good run of luck tonight. Just let it go. Just stop playing. Then you won't lose anymore. You won't get any further into debt. You won't get any further into debt to Seleno. You won't get any further into debt to me. You know how this works." And the guy kind of looks up, and you can see that there is a little bit of a, like, when the hand came on his thing, he turned with a start, and it was clear he was going to try to go and let somebody have it. And then he saw who it was, and you saw him, like, everything just shut down really quickly, to the point where he's like, yes sir, Mr. Elazar, yeah, totally. You know what, guys, I think I'm out at this point. I think it's time for me to go home to my wife. Enjoy the rest of your dice game. And he just kind of gets up, nods at, clearly the man's name is Elazar, and then heads out of the tavern. You see Elazar briefly look in your direction, Dresd'a, before he goes and sits back down at the table. What are you doing?
I don't know. I might just out of curiosity go over to his table. Just walk up to his table and maybe just introduce myself. And
right. You walk over to his table and take the chair that was just left by, clearly the guy's name was Warlock.
Just kind of, is it okay if I sit for a second?
Kind of looks at you and he says, "Huh, you're a strange one. Sure, be my guest."
Okay. Just hi, I'm, Dresd'a, and that was a nice thing you did for that guy there, especially since I gather he owes you money. You could have just let him get in debt to you more, but it's good that you encouraged him not to.
But I would prefer to, I'd prefer that my debtors live, not die. Don't get money from a dead man.
It's true. Wise too, I guess. So just, you got any, I'm going to be here for a couple days. You got any jobs or potential to earn some money?
You're very straightforward, aren't you, young lady?
Well, beating around the bush ain't going to earn me any coin.
What's your name?
Dresd'a.
Dresd'a. My name's Elazar. Elazar. Oh man, I had a last name for him. Now I got to find it.
Elazar, Sorcerer.
No, I had one. Elazar Ilaria. What brings you to this town other than clearly work?
We're getting our ship repaired. And
oh, you are one of the people with the ship that says yours. And did you guys bring in those pirates, I believe?
Yes, we did.
Oh. Interesting. I believe a couple of my men had a run-in with one of your friends the other day.
Good or bad?
I think there was a misunderstanding. That is all.
Okay. Well, I hope it resolved itself well and nobody was hurt. Too bad.
No, I don't believe anybody was hurt too bad.
Okay, good.
Not from my side, anyway. So you say you're looking for jobs?
Well, and to be upfront, and because I don't beat around the bush, we're not looking for any sketchy, illegal type stuff. But
do I look like I would do anything sketchy and illegal?
You can't tell by people's appearances.
Just this is very true.
Just
I'm
want to put that out
still
front.
trying to figure out.
Your business is your business, but if you got some way to earn some coin that wouldn't get us in trouble.
Strange coloring to your skin, and you're very tall. Where do you hail from, originally?
I tell him my home.
Oh, all the way up in the Solaris area.
Yeah. Yep. Simple fishing folk.
You don't look very simple to me. I don't know of simple fisher folk that have golden skin.
Well, now you do.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I guess I'll takes all kinds, I guess. It's good to... I'll let you know if I have anything that needs attention. How long are you guys thinking you're staying in town?
I think 2 or 3 days, they said. Isn't that what he said? 2 or 3 days to fix
You said it would take about 3 days to fix the ship. So.
Okay, yeah. About 3 days, yeah.
Oh, well, if something comes up, where would I find you?
We're at the inn.
Fair enough. Stands to reason. New in town. It's probably the only place you could stay. Fair enough.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. Have a good day. And I'll get up.
Very nice to meet you, Dresd'a. Very nice.
You too. Gather my stuff.
And you're heading out?
Yeah, I'm gonna head out.
So as you're heading out and you're weaving through the tables here, nobody slaps you on the ass. That's not where I was going with this. You overhear somebody say, yeah, the Navy guys, they said that Mad Dog sunk another ship. The Sea something or other. I can't remember the exact name that was told me, but it was some Solari vessel, some merchant vessel or something like that. I don't know how the guy keeps on figuring out how to get past all the Mergale blockades and stuff like that. I just don't get it. And the one guy's like, yeah. It's like he knows what's going on or something. And the third guy's like, hey, maybe we should join his crew. I mean, at least be some money. I mean, Elazar pays okay, but not as good as I hear some of these pirates do. And you kind of overhear that as you go by one of the table, and it's 3 dock workers basically chatting at each other.
Also a short life gentleman, and then I walk out.
They kind of look at you like, crap. And then they kind of look at you briefly, and then you see the one who said Elazar's pay isn't very good really quickly glance towards Elazar, who seems to be just drinking his drink and watching you leave. But and then you head out, and we'll put you back up on here.
I guess there's nothing else for me to do that I can think of, so okay. I'll head on back to the inn and just hang out there.
So you guys, Hylough, you go to the bakery, some decent bread and things like that you could purchase there. Most things are only, the most expensive thing there is a couple silver, so you could buy whatever you want there. You find out that the baker is a woman by the name of Kira Borwin. She's middle-aged, and clearly her daughter is helping her. The bakery shop itself is mostly just like her home from the way it looks. There's a small area that functions as a shop, but it's very clear that this is her home and this is just a room that at night they turn into, a place for them to do stuff.
Cool. Well, I buy something for everybody.
Okay.
Bring back.
All right, Aaron and Iylis, you guys get to the general store. It's run by a man named Gabriel Bakaya. He has the typical general store things, the typical adventuring gear and things like that you might find in the player's handbook for approximately that cost. If something is going to be more than like 15 gold, anything above 15 gold he doesn't have. This village is not going to be able to support, that sort of stuff. Like he might have 1 or 2 things that cost more than that, but not much. And it's mostly just general goods. He doesn't have like weapons and armor or anything like that. Anything in particular you guys are looking for?
Well, I was sort of thinking we might get like rations here or something for the ship.
If you want to purchase things for the ship, like specific food for ship life, he does have some of that sort of stuff, but it's not rations per se. It's going to be things like barrels of water and apples, or tins of biscuits, that sort of stuff. It's going to be that kind of thing. It's not necessarily like the rations a typical adventurer would get, but you can get that here, yes.
And do you guys think we should?
Yeah, we should get it. We should get some just in case.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to work. Go away. Sorry, work's bugging me.
So does he have like any ammunition for my new pistol that I got?
No, like I said, it's all just things like general store sorts of things. Like if you ask about it, he's like, I've never seen a thing of, well, I've heard of these contraptions. Never seen one myself, but you might want to go talk to
would you like to see it?
Ivan might be able to make you some ammunition for it. His shop is over by the downpour. And
Excellent.
Marcus, you literally have walked past the blacksmith. That's where your character is next to right now.
Yeah, I figured.
Can hear it going through. Hear some clanging as you're going through. Yes, he might be able to do that. That being said, I'm not sure where you can get any of the gunpowder, I believe they call it. I don't have any, and I'm pretty sure that Ivan does not as well.
Understandable.
But he might be able to find you some of these slugs, bullets. What do they call them? Shot.
Yeah. Rounds.
You get the feeling, however, that if they don't normally make it, it probably would cost more than normal.
Yeah.
Just as an FYI.
Yeah, I figured.
It is very clear, Aaron, going around the shop, that you could probably get enough hardtack and fruit and stuff like that for maybe a week's voyage from here for a crew of 20. Like if you've got a crew of 10, you could probably get enough for 2 weeks. You probably wouldn't want to get more than a week worth of stuff, though, because even the furthest thing from here is about a week. Even Emmerdal is no more than a week away, and you don't want it to spoil. The hardtack wouldn't spoil, but the and probably the apples wouldn't either. But so he definitely has enough stuff for like 20 people for a week.
Okay, how much would that be?
How much would that be? That's a very good question. Probably neighborhood of 10 to 15 gold would be my guess, but I'm purely guessing it. I would have to look up. Yeah, about 15 gold. It comes out to about a silver per person per day. So about 15 gold. And that's
anyway,
again, a week's worth of stuff for 20 people.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's good. I think we could do that.
Sure. I'm not saying.
Yeah, that'd be a good.
Can I like charisma check to get it lower, I guess?
Oh, you can try.
Try to haggle him a little bit.
Yeah. What did I say, charisma? Or should I use like persuasion or something?
Persuasion.
That is charisma, but yeah.
Not the best at that, I don't think. Oh well. Apparently I am.
You were able to get him down to 12 and a half, so 12 gold, 5 silver.
I think we can do that. I think we have come to an arrangement.
All right. He kind of shakes his head a little bit. It's like,
what just happened?
Very low margins, but since I haven't had many people looking for these things in the last few days, sure, last week or so, and normally I have to give it to the Mergale Navy. At least I'm making something. the question Pete has to ask is, where are you going to put this for 3 days?
Oh, well, could we like?
Get a bag.
I guess we could like buy it right now, but we can like do it right before we leave or something.
Oh, well.
We pick it up
Yeah.
later, or do you have space to keep this for 3 days?
He did just say he's not getting any customers for this stuff.
Yes. Sure. I can hold it for you. You want it on layaway? Should I give you a credit card? I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Yes, I can hold it for a couple of days.
The general
yes.
store credit card.
I can hold it for a couple of days, sure.
Right.
Cool. Like, do we need anything like, I don't know, just general tools for repairing the ship as we go, or cooking, or
I mean, remember the
medicine.
ship mostly had a lot of that stuff. Now a lot of it was taken off. So I mean, you're not outfitting the ship from scratch. It still had all the ropes and some things were put on there to support you guys going to wherever Scabs was trying to get to. Whatever they said, Flotsam or something like that was what you remember. But you know, it's the bare bones, bare essentials. Should not have had Hylough say that.
Cool. Well, I'll probably get some extra rope just in case.
Okay.
And like 100 feet of extra rope if you got it.
He has 100 foot of rope. It will cost.
Does he have like planks to replace, or not replace, like patch holes? Does he have any patches, I guess?
Yeah. Does he have any just regular wood?
He does not, but he recommends that you go to the carpenter and the sawmill to the south.
Yeah.
Cool.
For something of that nature. Or speak with the shipwright. He might have some pieces that would help you. But some more rope. If you wish to buy 100 feet of rope, that will cost you a couple gold.
Okay, cool. I'll get that and a crowbar.
You need a crowbar?
I don't know. You never know.
Excuse me.
Could have to pry something open. Maybe some fishing supplies.
If you want,
does he have anything like that?
It'll cost you a couple gold as well.
Mm-hmm.
You want fishing supplies, so like
rod, a couple rods and tackle and stuff like that. Lines, sinkers, lures.
All of this stuff, if you were to buy all of what you're talking about, would be like 6 gold.
Okay, cool.
The rope.
I'll get a couple of those fishing rods, just in case.
So yeah, you're looking at about 7 gold if you're getting more. You're getting a couple of the things. So
I will pay the man.
All right, so you give him 7 gold pieces. There's a difference now. So the money you got from the bounty are Megalian marks, gold marks. The money you got from Mad Dog were Solarian gold pieces. So you have a couple of different types in here. It seems like they seem to weigh about the same, so they're probably interchangeable. But actually, they would have been Solarian, not marks, but anyway, so Solarian gold pieces. I wanted to say Solarian dollars, but that would be silly. So you give him the 7 gold, and you guys looking for anything else?
You want to visit the carpenter?
Yeah, I want to visit the carpenter and the blacksmith.
Let's go.
All right. Well, they're on opposite directions from each other. So what do you want to do first?
Well, we could split up.
Yeah, sure.
I could go get my stuff from the blacksmith, and you could go get wood.
All right.
Big, strong man.
Iylis is headed this way.
Just remember, we still don't have any place to store this stuff.
Yeah, well,
we're working on it. Down here to the sawmill.
We could just order some wood for later.
Marcus, you have found the place called the House of Cards. should have.
All right, so
probably should call the house of cards. So you go in.
Yes.
The door is like more of a series of beads and shells as you kind of push through it into a darkened interior that's got a slight aroma of sea spray and sand. Sitting at a table is an old woman. She's easily one of the oldest women you've ever seen. But actually, probably shouldn't have said that way. Sitting behind the table is a bird, or as you would have called them, an ave. But the feathers are all faded and whitened, so clearly an old bird. And she, it's clearly a she. She looks based on the. I mean, you don't. Well, it's not clearly a she. You haven't met a lot of ave in your lifetime, so. The bird cocks its head to one side and says to you, "Oh, I see. I have been expecting you. Please, sit."
Good, I thought you might be. I knew our paths would cross as soon as I heard about you.
Well, that is not surprising.
I am Luke Dixon.
Luke.
At least that is the name Luke. You could know me as.
Fair enough, Luke. If you wish to have your fortunes told, knock on the table 3 times. And she kind of cocks her head a little sometimes.
I'll go ahead. I'll knock on the table 3 times.
All right. Madam Zugenia, is that your service? The bird transforms into an old woman. And she says, I always love using that one when people first join. It makes it so exhilarating. So exhilarating. So, you wish to have your fortune told?
Or perhaps follow down the lines of possibilities.
Possibilities. Are you seeking future? And how far?
The future within the next several months. Perhaps knowing what around here might transpire.
Around here? All right. She turns to the side and she pulls out a black felt bag. And from that, you can hear it rattle a little bit. And she puts her hand in it and she speaks a few words in a strange tongue. And then she pulls out and throws some bones across the table. And they kind of rattle around and land in particular spots. And then she looks at them and she says, The future for you around here is difficult to read. I feel you will not be here long. And so the strands of fate do not hold well for seeing how you will shape this place. The best I can say is that something you seek or that you wish to have will go missing, and you will need to find it. And then you notice that her eyes had gone completely white, and they snap back to the very, very piercing, pale blue. She says, anything else?
Dark Lord will return.
So have I seen, I'm kind of watching this. Is this, I mean, kind of my background, I've probably dealt with a few fortune tellers, that kind of thing.
Not a lot of soothsayers in Cairngorm. Not that you wouldn't have necessarily heard of some that you've tried. Like none of them of this kind of thing. Like this is a voodoo soothsayer. You've probably seen in Cairngorm. You probably went to someone who used cards or used crystal ball kind of thing. So the premise, in your opinion, is the same.
Right. I'm just kind of curious if it's a scam or not.
Give me an insight check.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was.
Yeah, that's fine. It's That's a perfectly reasonable way to ask about it.
Since I've been, let's see, does the rolls continue?
Remember, it's only one time now, but the rolls continue.
Still sucks.
Seems pretty legit. I mean, the bones kind of did fall in a weird pattern. Her eyes definitely changed color. I mean,
yeah, that was a cool thing.
And I mean, you didn't see through her initial, disguise, which that one you feel is probably just a disguised person of some sort, where she just happens to know a unique form that is unusual for this kind of area for North Veron. So it seems somewhat legit. What she said as a, hey, you're going to lose something that you need to find. That's pretty generic.
Yeah, it's very generic and it's nothing.
But you never know. I mean, it seems somewhat legit. She's like, do you wish to learn more? Maybe further afield, farther in your future? If not, a nice donation is always appreciated.
Of course. Yes, there's an island, and I'm describing a roundabout way the island of the where the hideout was.
Okay.
Does that come into my future, and for good or ill? In the
right, she this time she pulls out the same bag and it clinks a bit, and she speaks the same words again, and then when she throws out what should have been bones, what comes out is dust, bone dust, and it kind of just slowly floats down onto the table. And you see her
look not good.
A little bit startled, and she's like, "This is an ill omen. Dark things go there. I cannot read your future about said place."
Is it the place, or is it for me and the place?
The bones have spoken. I cannot tell you of which.
Interesting.
But her eyes in this case didn't flip. So, I mean, but remember the last time actual bones came out, and you could hear the clinking when she started to pull the bones and throw them. They just turned into dust.
But as far as can I insight this one? If she actually seems shocked?
Yeah, you can. Oh wow! I thought you were gonna get a 2.
I know.
You feel. I mean, she's been hard to read. She really has been. Like, it's an old lady. She's crinkled. She's got the crow's feet. She's the typical old fortune teller crone. She's literally the trope that you always have heard of. She seemed shocked by the fact that what came out was not bones but dust. And at this point she says, I do not wish to do any more of your fortune telling, and the first one is on me. Good luck with your future. And as you start to get up, you notice the dust, the bone dust, swirls and arranges itself into a series of tentacles with eyes.
No.
Dude, I hate this guy.
And then it kind of a puff of a gust of wind comes through the beads in the door. It rattles the beads and the thing and blows on the dust and clears off the table. And Madame Zagenia is clearly shocked by this. I mean, you don't need a 20, you don't need a 10.
Yeah.
She is clearly like, please be gone.
Thank you for your time. Yes, of course. And I'm going to leave a donation of a couple silver.
Whatever she clearly said the first one was free.
Okay, yeah, well, maybe she's
basically saying, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, I'm basically first. Good to know. All right, so now I'm freaked. Yeah, I will think on that one and go back to the inn.
Okay, you head back.
Do not pass go. Do not collect 200.
All right. Iylis, I wasn't expecting this to be everybody. I wasn't expecting this to be a shopping / kind of episode. So no, so it's perfectly fine. It just was not what I was expecting.
I mean, if you had other things in mind, feel free to stick them in front of us.
I have been sticking stuff in front of you. I have.
Are we not recognizing it?
No, you guys are doing fine. But remember, this is very much sandbox. Like, we'll talk about it more when we're done for the evening. Iylis, you come to what's clearly the blacksmith. You can hear, pounding the tink tink. And coming around the side, you can see he's got sort of an open air kind of place on the backside. Ivan is a rather large man, but large in the sense that he's somewhat heavy set. Like most blacksmiths you've seen are pretty well fit and stuff like that. And this guy's got huge arms, but he's also got a pretty good paunch to him. And he's beating some metal into shape, and kind of notices you as you come in, and you can see the sweat on his brow, and he still beats it for a bit, and then he puts it into the fire, and he kind of wipes his hands on his shirt, which is pretty much black with soot already, and he looks at it again and he says, "How can I help you, son?"
Well, I was wondering if you had any shots or rounds for this kind of thing, and I hold up the pistol sideways.
Yeah, he kind of moves forward a little bit, and from a little pocket in his shirt, he pulls out a small ponce that he puts on his nose, and looking through it, he says, "I don't believe I've ever seen a contraption like this. Is this one of those guns?"
Yeah, I think so. I got it off one of my friends. It seemed pretty cool. He never really shot it, but
I do not have anything for this. Kind of looks at he takes the thing and points the barrel at himself, and he's kind of looking down it. And he's like, "What, about half an inch in diameter, maybe?
Whatever an inch is, thereabouts."
Yeah, I could probably make you some, and maybe take a day or so.
3/8 of a cubit or whatever.
Oh, half an inch. I'd probably take a day or so. Maybe I'd make you pay for the time and the materials. So
excellent.
5 gold, maybe.
Cool, that works.
I actually don't remember how much. I could probably make about 10 of them for 5 gold.
That works for me. And you're the first one that I've found that can do anything. So,
sure. Come back tomorrow evening.
Sounds like a plan. I'll see you then.
Okay. He continues to look at the gun for a little bit, and he hands it back to you and says, "Good day." And you see him then head off, and he's kind of looking at some metal ingots that he has.
I'm wondering if he needs to keep the gun in order to get the measurements right.
It's up to you. He's giving it back to you, but
yeah, I'm gonna ask him.
He's like, that would certainly help. I don't know how rare such a contraption is, and I did not wish to seem forward by asking for it.
I mean, can't really shoot it without some other things to have. So yeah, feel free to hang on to it while you're making this stuff.
Certainly. Thank you. That will
much
certainly make
appreciated.
it much easier to get the right sizes. And
cool.
He nods at you, and again he goes back to looking at some metal. The metal ingots he's looking at, one looks to be actually give me an intelligence check.
Am I smart?
Smart
Maybe.
enough. One of them is clearly like iron. Another one looks like maybe some kind of one of them's definitely iron, but another one looks like it's iron, but a little like slightly reddish tint to it. As the other one he's looking at, and he kind of is looking in between, and you see him just as you leave pick up the one that doesn't have the reddish tint and put it into the fire. But he kind of looks at the other one again as you're heading out.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And we'll go down to Aaron. You head down and get to the carpenter, which is a not so much a carpenter as it is a sawmill and carpenter. Did I not give this guy a name? I thought I'd given this guy a name, but I can't find it. All right then. Oh,
Bill.
Wait. No, I just clicked on you. That's not what I wanted to do. I did give it a name. As you get there, you can hear, like you can see the stream is going by and running the mill. And you can hear like not whirring, but you can hear gears and stuff turning inside the building to the south. You don't notice anybody in the courtyard around the house and sort of like a barn, but you can hear a couple people talking inside of the sawmill itself. What are you doing?
Is there a door to go in?
Yeah, I mean, there's a door you can go in. Yes.
Then I'll go in the door, I suppose.
Okay, so you head into the door and you see a 30-something man chatting with an older, what looks like a farmer. And they kind of both look up at you as you come in, and the one guy, the 30-something guy, turns to you and says, "Can I help you?"
I was just wondering if you had any sort of patches for ships available currently.
No. That's not the stuff we do. We're more just wood and stuff like that. If you need something for ships and stuff, you should see Zior, the shipwright. You must have come past him. He's just north of us on the road. Big huge warehouse, jetty going out into the ocean, into the sea.
Okay. I guess I'll go there then.
Well, you know what Zior is. That's where the ship is. You guys, that's where you just...
Oh, yeah. Was there anything else that I could use here?
It's a bunch of wood and stuff for like buildings and things like that. I mean, yeah, you could use some of this wood for ships if you wanted to. In fact, more than likely, Zior gets some of his wood from here. But none of it's formed or anything like that for ship construction. Like Zior is going to form it and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll just go to him then.
Okay, you head back to the shipwrights.
All right.
Which is where your ship is being built. And you can hear, again, you hear people inside of the warehouse there, and you can see, a couple guys working on the ship as you kind of come around and look into the warehouse. Zior kind of looks up and he's like, "Oh, what can I do for you? Ships, we're getting along. You can see some boards being formed over to the one side, and he's like, we decided since those forms are going to take a while, we're gonna work on the inside for a bit. Is there anything you need?"
Yeah, we were just sort of wondering if you were selling any sort of ship patches for when we're on the high seas.
Well, what do you think I'm doing? I'm fixing the ship. Isn't that what you wanted?
No. But yes. I
mean, sure, I can sell you some wood if you'd want afterwards.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. That's really all I needed to know.
Okay. If that's all, then let me get back to fixing your ship.
I won't take any more of your time.
All right. And
hey man, I was sent on a mission to see if we could get any patches. I did that.
Everybody gets back to the inn. It is now about early evening as you all kind of get into the common room of the inn. What are you guys doing?
I shall inform of the progress on the ship, and that he also is going to sell us some patches for when we're on the road, or I guess he can.
I'm going to tell Marcus that the blacksmith will make shots for you.
Good. Yeah. Does he do gunpowder as well, or just?
Did not see any gunpowder. But I guess we'll have to get that somewhere else. But he'll do 2 shots for a gold. Pretty good.
Is that pretty good? That doesn't seem pretty good. It seems pretty bad, actually.
Pretty good.
It doesn't sound very good, no. You figure you can normally
well, I mean, I figure for custom shots, that's...
Normally you can get 1 shot for, or 10 shots for like 1 gold.
That's what I was thinking. But...
And you do know more about this because, you know, it is more prevalent in Caer Miguel than it is here. I mean, clearly these guys don't see a lot of
Yeah. Well, I mean, and maybe in a larger town you'd wait or...
Yeah, it's possible.
You can get. No, I'm just saying. I'm just letting him know. Maybe wait a little while, and you can get a better deal on it. And you're going to need gunpowder. I can't remember how much. I think we had 25 shots worth of shots. How much did I get from rats?
You have some. I thought it was like 1 powder horn, I think is what you have, which
I think that's
is a decent amount. It's definitely more than 10 shots worth, that's for sure.
Okay, I just couldn't remember how much because I got this gun from Scabs.
Like a powder horn is like worth about £1. It's like a pound of gunpowder.
Okay.
And you don't need to use it. It's going to take a while. Like I figure a pound of gunpowder would probably be 50 shots, 100 shots. I have to look it up. I don't know exactly.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to know. But yeah, where's your pistol? Crickets.
Iylis, that was to you.
Sorry, what was that again?
Where's the pistol?
Oh yeah, I dropped it off at his place and let him use it for measurements.
Okay, that's very trusting of you.
Yeah. I'll be back there tomorrow. If he's done something with it, I'll do something to him.
Excellent. Well, I did actually, and I'm glad everyone's back. I actually got out, and there's a couple interesting things in town. I was talking to someone down at the Citadel. I know it's not a Citadel, but for lack of a better term.
Garrison?
The Garrison. And they were mentioning that there's a lighthouse here which has a lot of interesting stories and perhaps some ghosts around it. And if anyone's up for it, I think I'm going to head out there tomorrow just to at least catch the stories. And, we've seen a lot of crazy things. So maybe we'll find something else to look at there.
Cool. They do tours and everything?
Well,
sell tickets?
I have a feeling it sounds like he's kind of out there by himself. I assume that was a man, right?
Yeah, Timo was
the guy's name. Timo. Timo. But it sounds like he's interested in telling a lot of stories. But again, we've had a lot of weird stuff go on, so might be worth saying. Oh, and by the way, there's a soothsayer, fortune teller in town, and she might have indicated that the island that we were on is incredibly bad in the future for us. Assuming you believe what she said, which I haven't seen a lot of scams. I don't think this one was as much of a scam as it is kind of a warning. That island is bad news.
Which island are you talking about? The one we're standing on right now?
No, the one that we found the hideout on. The one we were marooned on for a bit.
Okay. So we shouldn't go back there? Is that your idea?
I'm saying that there's something going on there that, given our history, I wouldn't be opposed to not go back there. What I'm saying. Given our experiences, and now...
That's like a triple negative. Let's see here.
And given that...
Count the number of negatives.
Exactly.
I think that means
be opposed to not going there. Okay, let's see.
I wouldn't be opposed. Yeah, that's definitely a triple negative.
So, yeah, I think we got to think about not going to the island.
Oh, okay, that's easier to think about. All right.
Again, and then there is maybe if someone to go down there and see if they got the same impression. not mentioning anyone from the crew, because that would kind of the fortune teller was a little disturbed after I left, so I didn't tell her anything. Just that I was wondering about the future around that island.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to think about.
Okay.
Anyone want to go to the lighthouse tomorrow?
I'm up.
Praedyth.
Oh.
You've been sitting up in the room. You got the rest of you guys are currently down in the common room. Praedyth, you've been sitting up there meditating all afternoon. Not getting any real response, but that's not too unusual or anything like that. The Raven has been in the room with you, and you kind of finally truly fall into that sort of stupor is not the right word. The meditative state that you kind of can, when you really get into, is when you feel like she normally contacts you, and you're in that deep dark space, and nothing's you're not hearing, you're not getting the same feeling like you normally do, like she's there, and so you finally give up, but you open up your eyes to see the Raven literally right in front of you, with its beak like almost touching the bridge of your nose, and its eyes are looking directly at you, and as you meet the eyes of the Raven, there's a flash, and you see the swirl of black tentacles with eyes, green eyes, for a brief moment before it fades away again, and then the Raven is on the other side of the room.
Interesting.
Give me an intelligence check.
Sure. Hold on. It's not letting me.
History. You could do a history check if you'd like. That's the same.
Yeah, if it would let me click anything, I would absolutely give you a check.
Oh, click on Praedyth, and then there's the HUD up top.
I won't let me click anything at all. So I'm refreshing the page real quick. There we go. History, you said?
Yep. Wow. Something about the Raven, where it was, and the bridge of your nose brings back a recollection. You remember during that dream, or the vision you had near the portal, you remember that as part of that, the tentacle being had touched you on the forehead, between the bridge of your nose on the forehead. And the fact that the Raven was that close and its beak was almost exactly at that spot, very disturbing.
Almost a bad touch.
When
it was a vision,
tentacle,
so.
When the tentacle touched, or the tentacle, are you talking? You're saying that
when you had the vision, the memory of the vision, you were in you guys were, the portal opened, and you had a vision, and the vision was you in the dark space talking with Azara, and then the tentacle creature had ripped her apart. Well, then it also touched you on the forehead during that vision.
Okay. There might be some kind of corrupting touch that the Raven
You're not
is
sure,
pointing
but
out to?
it's just the fact that the Raven was just looking in that spot kind of brought that back into recollection.
Okay. All right.
Back to the rest of you. Are you guys doing anything else?
I am not doing anything for the rest of the evening.
I think I'm going to sleep.
I'll check in with Drew.
All right. True has not back yet.
Okay, well then I won't check in with Drew.
Blinby had never left the inn, so she stayed there too. the whole day. She's probably trying to avoid meeting up with any of Elazar's guys.
I understand.
Hylough, you figure maybe the next hour or so. Cormac might actually be at the brewery, which, based on what you've been told, is right over here. So it's not very far away from where you guys are. If you wanted to go meet him, see about his lost sheep. Otherwise, you guys don't have to do anything. You can just, you might want to find a place to eat. The inn does not serve food, if you recall. I mean, they're willing to go fetch it for you if you want. But
I thought they did a European breakfast. Or whatever the equivalent was here.
They basically will provide you with food, but they don't actually make any food, so they would have to go out and get it and bring it back. But
go get us McDonald's.
I don't have a McDonald's here, but the theory that you're going for
doesn't some bread.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Hylough brought back bread from the bakery, so.
Yeah, I'll give it all, passing it out.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think.
Well, that's a good idea. And yeah, maybe we'll get something. Somebody goes to the market and get something for us. That'd be good. Because I'm not gonna go into town that often.
Yeah, the little market square is probably open at this point in time as well.
Well, I think bread will be good for now, but
okay.
In the morning I'll pick up something.
All right.
On the way out to the. Actually, I will ask how the innkeeper. How would I get to the lighthouse? I'm assuming it's not something I can just see.
Well, if you head down to the docks, you'll just have to probably get charter a fisherman to take you out there. It'd probably cost you maybe a couple silver, maybe a gold at the most, depending on the time of day. Like, if you wait until after they're done with their morning fishing, you could probably get somebody for a couple silver, because normally they're not making any money then.
Good idea. Have you ever heard of this person?
Who?
John's got to get the page of his notes. Timo.
Timo, the lighthouse operator.
Yes.
He's the one that lights the oil lamps that are built around the outside of the tower. Yes. He's a strange man.
An interesting sort.
Possibly a bit lonely. I don't know. I don't speak to him very much. We don't run in the same circles. Which is kind of odd to hear from a guy who's literally in a town of maybe 500 people.
Yeah. He's that much of a recluse then.
He comes in every so often to buy supplies from Gabriel next door. He'll stop by, and sometimes he'll spend the night. Usually those nights we have crashes near the... No, I'm kidding. Yeah, sometimes he'll spend the night, but he doesn't stay here very much. Usually he's just here to pick up supplies, and then he heads back out to the tower.
What are the tales of the ghosts?
Oh, the ghosts. This is why you wish to go to the tower. Yes, there's some old wives' tale that there's some ghost. Let's see if I remember correctly. Let me give it to you the right way. Several people have claimed that they have seen a ghost of an old man wearing robes near the lighthouse. Timo has claimed to see him several times, from what I understand, in various places on the island near the tower. There's another man here named Valentine Gadner. Old man Gadner. He's like 80 or something like that. Claims to have lived here all his life, which might be true. The town of Tyrach's Landing is only maybe 70 years old, something like that. Founded when Tyrach ran aground out by where the tower is, actually. But neither here nor there. He claims to have seen this ghost along some of the cliffs on the north side, sometimes on the south side, along the beaches. Most consider him just a doddering old fool. And just humor him, because I don't know of anybody besides these two who have seen the ghost, actually. So, and you know, so it's hard to say if it really is something that's true or not. But if you wish to
It'd be an interesting tale.
If you wish to go see him, like I said, find some fishermen after they're done with their catch in the morning, and probably take you out there for not too much.
Huh. Can you recommend anyone in particular? You know of anyone
I
more
can't.
honest than
I'm
most?
sorry. I mean, the fishermen are the fishermen.
Okay.
There's several of them. Maybe if you try to find Cadwy. Cadwy might be. Ask for Cadwy down on the northern dock.
Okay.
He might be a bit more trustworthy than the rest. They're all relatively trustworthy, I must say. I mean, I'd be more concerned about the dock workers or anyone you see around that tattooed man. They're the ones to stay away from.
The tattooed man?
He's got sort of these curly tattoos on his bald head, and
is that the guy?
It's the guy you saw the other night. No, he wasn't chasing you, but it was the guy you saw when Blinby went white and left. Yes.
Yeah, the one who Blinby was avoiding.
And Dresd'a, as he's saying that, you recognize exactly who he's talking to about. It's like, I would stay away from them. They're a bit more. Him and his men are. They're trouble.
Interesting. Well, I try not to necessarily, read a book by its cover, but it's always good to know the perspective of someone beforehand.
Very nice.
Someone who actually knows the person. That's how you really get to know or been with the person.
Let's just say that some of his men have been trying to make me pay them a protection fee of some sort. Luckily, I'm close enough to the garrison that it's not really something they can get away with very easily. So I just ignore it for the most part. But there was a bit of trouble about a week back. I believe at Bronwyn's place. That's why I've been trying to send people to the downpour. She needs the money to help fix up the place.
What happened to the Bronwyn place?
Someone threw a bottle of alcohol on fire, and it started the building on fire. And for the 4 of you that went there, that now explains why there was fire damage on the one side.
I'm sure that they probably were also not paying the protection.
She's a very proud woman, so probably not.
How she feels now?
I don't know. The place is still there, so maybe she's still fine. I don't know. You should ask her.
No, I don't want to interfere with the local. It's just always in search of a good tale,
As you're saying that, you hear Blinby from the stairwell. Clearly, she's just come down, and she says, "That sounds like Alisar and his men. The smuggling dried up. They went to petty, simple, or more brutal crimes." Blinby, yes, yes. He says, "I will leave you guys to it then." And he kind of goes and sits back at his little desk in the back.
Does he seem concerned with Blinby there?
He knows who Blinby is. It's very clear that he knows who she is. No. It's more, he knows who she is. He knows something about her past, clearly. And either doesn't approve of it or just wants to avoid it. That's kind
but he lets her stay here, so obviously there's something.
Yep.
There's some reason for it.
Yep. It's like, yeah, I would stay away from him as well. He's nothing but trouble these days. I was thinking about going over to Tyrrux. Is anybody else thinking about that for this evening?
What is Tyrrux?
The brewery. You were there. You went there with her the other morning to get the papers from Zior. Last session.
Well, is that the bar we went to in the first place? That's not the same place.
No, that's not the Barnacle. The Barnacle is the one near the docks. That's the one where you went. There was a dwarf that came out of a place where clearly there was brewing going on, where Iylis tried one of his brews and really liked it.
It was great.
Well, I will go if no one else wants to go along. I'm always up to guiding about. I just want to make sure that, don't want to run across the wrong people. Before
I wouldn't worry about Elazar. The brewery is right next to the garrison. He won't do much trouble there. Too close.
Oh, then lead on.
And
anyone else?
She heads out the door, and heads towards the brewery. Anybody gonna
I'm
follow?
going to the brewery.
All right. You guys, whoever is going to the brewery is right where I'm going to put Hylough. This is the brewery.
Right there.
Yep.
I'm in the chimney. I'm by the fire.
And actually, Blimby's there. Walking in, the place is doing all right. I will give you the description again for it once I move Marcus out of the way of my document. Coming in, there's a main tap. No, it's fine. There's a main tap room, which has a good dozen people in it right now. Several tables. There's a main bar, which is run by a rather heavy-set man with thick black hair and a beard to match. He notices Blimby and you guys when you come in. He's like, Blimby, good to see you again. And you remember from the first time you were here, his name is Biston. And the tables are being waited on by two women. Look like they're twins, actually. Both with dark hair, dark black hair. It looks like they've dyed a red streak through it, though, on one side. And they're bustling between the tables as quickly as they can, back and forth to the bar, sometimes to the back, and you can see them go through a door into the back, and there are big, huge barrels back there where clearly brewing is taking place. Last thing though is you come in this time, which you didn't see the last time because he clearly wasn't here. There's a rather large grayish man standing on the outside, kind of watches you come in. He kind of looks you over. Clearly he's Verduran. Very similar in stature and size to Kellyan from the island. And for a moment, you mistake him for Kellyan, and then you realize different beard. This guy is actually slightly taller. He's not wearing leathers and stuff. He's just wearing a typical kind of, peasant kind of garb. And he but you can see that he's sort of got a cudgel at his waist. He kind of looks at you and nods you guys in as you go by. This guy's
the bounce.
He's clearly the bouncer. He's easily like 7 feet tall. And I mean, this guy is definitely well built. Like Biston's a heavy set man. Clearly, most of his weight is, fat and stuff like that. This guy clearly weighs as much, if not more, than Biston, and it's clearly muscle. So definitely think of him as a 7 foot tall Conan the Barbarian kind of look, but gray skinned, dark gray eyes, black eyes kind of thing. Black hair with a full beard. And
can you spell this guy's name?
You haven't heard this guy's name. He just grunts at you and says,
"Oh, okay. I thought that was
no." Biston is the bartender.
Biston's a barkeep. Okay, yep. Barkeep.
Yep. You come into this. Most of the clientele are seem to be like farmers. Some of their wives here at this time. Like definitely some of these people are husband wife kind of thing. Some of the more tradesmen type people are here. Aaron, if you came along, you noticed the sawmill guy, the carpenter. He's here. Actually walking in, you notice Zior is here. Like this seems to be more of the tradesman kind of slightly upper class bar of the place. Like Bronwyn's was definitely more down to earth, kind of the farmer, the salt of the earth kind of thing. The Thirsty Barnacle is clearly the dive bar of the town, and this is sort of more the upper class kind of bar. I mean, Tirok for the most part, or Tirok, Gralthar. I keep calling it Tirok because it's Tirok's bar, but Gralthar, who is the brewer and is the owner of this bar, tends to provide most of the rest of the bars with ale and things like that. I mean, he's the one brewer in town, but he keeps the good stuff for himself. So, coming in. You guys find a spot to sit down. Blimby finds a table that'll fit most of you. I don't know. Did everybody go? Clearly, Marcus, Iylis, and Hylough
not
did.
planning on going.
Okay, so Aaron did.
Yeah,
I had my fill of what he's suffering.
Okay. Kind of head in and find a spot, and one of the barmaids comes over and she says, "Good day. Name's Alystra. What can I get you? We got 3 on tap, light, blonde, dark. And then 2 kinds of whiskey and a rum. Oh, and for tonight, we have a pineapple brandy. She takes your order.
Pineapple. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the light.
Okay. She takes your order and kind of heads off.
Actually, I'm gonna ask her what's the best beer at the moment.
My personal favorite is the dark. You're like, this girl is barely. No, there's no drinking age in this place. The dark is my personal favorite. The blonde is new. It's something he's just trying. He's just started to. Galthrod just started trying about a week ago. It finally got finished about a week ago. So I think he started it at the end of last harvest. But it is more of a. It's sort of a combination sugarcane barley kind of mix. So it's got a little bit of sweetness to it, but it's not too much.
Sounds intriguing. I'd like to try that.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so she takes you guys' order and heads off. Place is pretty well, like, again, mostly tradesmen and stuff like that, but a few farmers. No dock workers or fishermen that you can tell. I mean, nobody obvious. Maybe some of them are. They just have a slightly better, set of clothing or something that they go for this sort of place. And clearly no food. It's clearly just a place to drink. Listening, there's a lot of conversation that's kind of drones on around you. At a certain point, the dwarf Growthar, you've met him again. A couple of you met him before. He's definitely a dwarf. He stops by your table, especially after you've been delivered the blonde. He stops by and as you've taken a few sips, and he's like, "Aye, how do you like it?" And again, it's sort of a hoppy sweetness. That's probably the best way I can describe it. So definitely a beer kind of taste, an ale kind of taste, but with a bit of sweetness to it. You can, it's almost like it's a rum infused ale kind of thing.
That actually doesn't sound bad.
I like it.
Yeah, it's like yes, this is a new type I've tried. I've done this before where I've taken the rum barrels and I've put the beer and I've made the beer in it and let it age in the rum barrels. This one though, I've tried to take the sugar cane after it's been kind of fermented a bit and added it into the mix itself. Well, and then put that into the oak barrels. I'm not sure which I like the best, but this one's not bad.
It's good. It's good. Do I like it enough that it's something that would catch on, or is it more just like a niche?
It's pretty decent. Yeah, it's unique. It's definitely unique. And not bad. Like,
okay.
Like
you do.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of just going over. Is this something that might work if it was shipped to the larger town? If we were to take stuff to it, or is it
maybe? It's certainly a possibility. You could ask him about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'll ask him about it, and then we don't have a ship back yet, but I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind and talk to him. Like, you ought to try. It's good enough. You ought to take it down to
Mirabelle is the closest.
Mirabelle, and
I thought about it. I have actually thought about it. I'm trying to. I feel like my market here is a little bit limited. So I've been thinking. I've been trying new things because, let's be honest, these guys they're always doing the same things. They want the same stuff, but I want to try something new, and I want to get it out there. So this was the first thing I'm trying. The pineapple brandy I tried. It's some people like it a lot. Some people don't so much. Although the Bivens, they ordered a whole case of it. And I'm not sure why. It was a little weird. But if you see their boy Tam, you can ask him. You guys from earlier, like,
I'll say, why were they?
Why would you take a whole case of that stuff? It would, like, you thought it was okay, but not great, and not worth a case of it. So, who knows? People have strange tastes. But I mean, I've got some rum and stuff like that. The rum, again, all around here. But if I could just get a little bit bigger, maybe I could, market this stuff or get it start shipping it around, at least for North Ferran here. maybe even further.
I was going to mention, we're new in town. We're taking a vessel, but we're going to go down, and perhaps we could market it for you in, for some samples because we're going to that. And maybe increase your market a little bit, and you help us out because we're looking at, perhaps a little shipping from here down there.
He looks a little intrigued. He's like, well, we should talk about it. It's probably a wholesale price. I could probably give you a pretty decent deal on several barrels of it, and then you could try to sell it somewhere.
That's definitely when you're. Let's think on it and talk after when you have more time.
Certainly.
And I'm going to enjoy it and see how it settles.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely would like to do that.
I'll ask him if the shepherd is here.
Oh, you ask after Cormac? He's like, Cormac, why would? Well, whatever, each his own. He looks around and he's like, oh yeah, Cormac, this man over here, he wants to speak with you. What's your name?
Hylough.
Supposedly he knows you. Cormac looks around and he looks at you and he's like, huh? But he's like, and he gets up and typical shepherd kind of guy, not he's wearing some somewhat nicer clothing. But you feel like it's his Sunday best kind of look. Like it looks like something like he doesn't wear very often. And he does look a little awkward as he kind of comes over and he's like, "Do I know you?"
No, you don't know me. I don't know what he's talking about.
Then I'm not going crazy. Gralthar sometimes I don't know, but what did you want? I mean,
we just heard some other farmers talking about how you've had some sheep disappear.
Oh yeah,
and I was wondering if there was some mystery or some help that we could offer you to either recover the sheep or figure out what's going on.
So it's a little weird. So the sheep get into a pen, and that sort of stuff. I pen them up at night, and for the Skurlox, I'm a Skurlox, one of the Skurlox shepherds. This is my one night where I can have a good beer. And he's like, hold on, let me go get it. He goes back and gets his beer and comes back. And then he's like, oh yeah, my name's Cormac. You are
Hello.
And then he kind of like you and he gets your names. He's like,
oh yeah, Marcus.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize it. I thought Hylough would take him also, but if he's talking to us, yeah.
No, he just comes back to your table.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm Marcus.
Oh, good to meet you guys. Yeah, so normally I put them in at night. Occasionally a few of them get out. So like about 3 or 4 nights ago, several of them got out. And when I went to, they usually go to the same place every time. There's a small watering hole in the grass fields out there. That they go drink the water, and there's a decent amount of a bit more healthier grass around there. So I found them, but I noticed that 5 had gotten out, but I could only find 4 that night. And there was a little bit of blood near the little watering hole, but there were no tracks or anything. I feel I'm a pretty decent tracker. I mean, I can track where the sheep went. So, but I didn't see anything at all around there. Just a little bit of blood and no indication of where the sheep went. Got in trouble. I got in trouble.
We saw that.
There's another.
Flying.
I got more.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
He's like, last night though.
Not a roll.
Last night, so another set got out. I really wish the Skurlox would let me build a new fence. Oh, sometimes they irritate me. And this morning when I found them, again, one of them was missing. But this time, there were some large, and he kind of points like about this long, large kind of 3-toed tracks. And only one set of them near where there was some blood. So I think there's something hunting and attacking them.
I think I know what it is.
Really?
We saw these flying creatures that were up on these cliffs.
That was just one creature. Was it more
or
than one
a creature? Yeah, I don't know that I saw more than one. Anyway, we saw they're up on these cliffs not too far from here, near the ocean. Oh. And I think that because there wasn't tracks before, I think they were swooping down and grabbing and then
You seem to think for a little bit. He's like, I guess that makes sense. That would explain the no tracks.
Or the 3 toes that they did leave behind.
Yeah. Wow, you guys are smart. Well, I guess we could. I guess we should probably find this thing because every time I lose a sheep, the Skurlocks dock my pay.
Oh man!
I can just barely afford to come here tonight.
Uh-huh.
Why won't the Skurlocks let you build a fence?
Well,
or build a shelter.
Build the fence better. No. So they're not. So the gist of it is that they're not being taken from the fenced area. Some of them are getting out because the fence is not very good, and then they get taken at night from wherever they go to.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if they're so cheap that they wouldn't pay us to solve this problem for them.
Well, they're making him pay for it by making him pay for every sheep that he loses. So why would they care?
Right.
It seems. That's the gist of what he's just saying. Yeah, every time I lose a sheep, they make me pay for it. They dock the pay that they give me every month. If I lose another one, I don't know how I'm going to make it through the month.
Maybe we can help you out. I guess we'd have to lie in wait or something like that. I don't know how else to, and then bait them with another sheep or something like that.
Well, that's a little scary, but I mean,
yeah.
Yes.
Or we can go try to find them.
But if that happens, then we can at least.
I would think it would just be. Or has anyone else been losing sheep? Is this a recent thing?
Well, I did hear. Most of the sheep herds that are on the south side are owned by the Skurlocks. So I don't know. Like I don't talk very much with some of the other sheep herders. But there is another guy, actually a woman, and he kind of gets a look on his face. Rona. Rona. She mentioned.
A look like he likes her, or
yeah,
a look like
he doesn't.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Kind of look. Like I think she mentioned losing a sheep like about a month back, maybe like 1 or 2 sheep, but I haven't seen her in like a couple weeks. I don't know if it's something I said or if the flock that she keeps after has moved further south, and so she's just heading down to the hamlet down there, and staying down there, or what? I don't know.
Does she often not? I mean, do you see her very often usually? Is this unusual?
Yeah, no, I mean, I see her every so often. Her grandfather lives up here, Goiter, old man Goiter, and you hear somebody say, "Cormac, his name's not Goiter, it's old man Gadner," and you realize that they're talking about
the guy who sees the
guy who sees the ghost. Oh yeah, I'm not supposed to call him Goiter. That's not a good name. But whatever. The old man Gadner is her grandfather. So I see her every so often when she comes to see her grandfather. But she hasn't come by in a couple of weeks, which is a little odd. But if she's further south, that makes sense.
Oh, I mean, that's true. Although hopefully it wouldn't hunt her, for example. I mean, that would be awful. But
yeah, I hope not.
If something were big enough to fly, or
well, so remember Marcus, you weren't there, but the rest of you, the wingspan on the creature you guys saw was easily 15 feet.
Oh no, John knows. Yeah. Marcus doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Marcus didn't know, but
yeah, she's
But the rest of them did see it, so they have an idea of how big this creature was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's probably fine. But back to this, we so lie in wait and try to catch this thing. That's not a bad idea. And then maybe there's some stuff on it we could sell to people, like if it's a strange creature.
Well, we don't typically do this kind of stuff for free, but yeah, we need to exactly. And maybe this would give us a chance, give you an opportunity to go talk to this other shepherd.
Rona,
yeah, I mean, we should talk. Maybe both of you. You can all combine the resources and then talk to her, and maybe it makes everyone's worth our while and helps you out and her out and gives you the opportunity. Because I mean, I would.
I don't have a lot of money, but I mean, I can certainly trade you something.
I mean, sure, there's a trade, and what would I think he would have? Is he just a character?
He's like a shepherd. That's basically all he is.
Yeah, so he has pretty much nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock you that barn near where the sheep are penned at night.
Right. But you can't afford necessarily. I mean, it's not something we're going to get paid for.
Probably not. But I mean, if it really is this creature that potentially you saw, there might be some money in just selling the creature itself. Like,
oh yeah. And maybe it won't jump us, it could, if we don't take it now, then it might come, and if we go to that smuggling, then again, we might see it again.
Yep, it's possible.
So definitely worth figuring out, and we have nothing else to do, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be heading back there later tonight. I mean, we can certainly try it tonight if you want, or I don't know exactly when the thing, if it really is this thing, I don't know exactly when it gets these guys, and we would have to figure out. I don't know. You can see he's struggling mightily to think of how to make this plan work. Not his forte. Clearly not his forte.
So he lost his sheep how long ago? I mean,
so he said one about 4 or 5 days ago, and then one last night.
I wouldn't think it would feed again that quickly, but
I mean, a sheep could last me a week.
This is a big bird.
It's a pretty big thing. So,
but it may be hunting other places.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they haven't heard.
And he basically says it happens every time they get out. So maybe he's been able to keep them in.
True. So he's able to keep them in.
Yeah, maybe he's been able to keep them in the last few nights, and then some of them finally get out. They figure out a way to get out. Like, again, you heard him say that he'd love to be able to put up a better fence. So maybe he's just fixing it well enough to keep them in for a bit, and then they
figure out another
way to get out, or the repair fails and they get out again. That sort of stuff. It's probably
sheep are so dumb.
They're pretty dumb, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't if they're trying to get to food at night and things like that.
A lot of them can knock some stuff over. So
yep.
Well, let me go over here and we'll talk about it and see, maybe we can come up with something.
All right. I'm gonna go back to talking to one of my friends
before you leave, though. I mean, we definitely, we want to. I want to check on your friend too. I mean, that could.
Yeah.
Help you out a little bit there.
Yeah.
Kind of give a knowing nod.
Yeah, certainly would help. I'm hoping she's okay. I don't think there's anything. No, there's nothing wrong with it. She's fine. She's probably further south. That's all.
We can always talk to her.
But you do see he's kind of thinking.
We got him on the right track.
Yeah, it's like, he kind of waves and heads back to the table he was at, where he was with a couple other people, let us stop there we're at a little past 10.
Okay.
And we can move forward with this in the next session.
So next time, guys, we can perhaps go. We can definitely, stake out, have a sheep stake out, and maybe lure it if it is this bird thing, or see whatever's hunting it. He may lose the sheep, if we can't handle it. But I guess the question is, do we want to do that tonight? And our next plans. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we might be able to just do it tonight, if we want to. And if we, not tonight, our time.
No. I mean, we can clearly not enough time for us to do an encounter of that sort tonight. But yes,
let us use a sheep.
Well, I'm still trying to swing how, if we weren't to do it tonight, but we could, talk to some more people who might have an interest in throwing some money in for us to do the whole Witcher thing and bring down the monster.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be, bad.
Yeah, right.
That is an argument for not doing it tonight.
But we talked to those overheard those other farmers. They apparently haven't had any problems that they've experienced. I don't know if they have livestock, but they haven't experienced any problems. They suspected Konak, the shepherd, to be stealing them. So it's apparently not a citywide problem or town-wide problem, but
well, they're not admitting it. I mean, it's always easier to blame the help, and you're not going to admit that, hey, I screwed up and my sheep have been dying, but you're certainly okay with the guy who you paying $5 an hour to watch your sheep. Well, that big idiot, his sheep are dying. Something's wrong there. But Just a thought. I'm not saying we can't. John's all for going to do it tonight and maybe seeing it out. Marcus is trying to get the money out of it.
Right.
So
Right.
That's the difference in philosophy here.
That's
Right.
fair.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is if we can't get money out of it, it's a gift. It's a freebie for us, and I'm not.
Well, I mean, it's not a bad thing to do, and it would maybe help the farmers on our side, that type of thing, if we want to goodwill for later. But money spends.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, we'll talk about it more next session.
All right. Well, thank you.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.